In this segment, we're going to take a look at the outside of the computer. We're going to look at both a desktop model and a laptop and kind of look at the ports and the basics of the outside of the PC before we start tearing it apart. We've got a desktop model here and a laptop there. Starting with the very, very basics, we've got an on-off switch here on the front of the PC. We've also got, in this particular model, a CD-ROM. You may have a CD-ROM or you may have a DVD if it's a newer one. And just to show how old this one is, there's also a 3.5-inch floppy there as well. Very hard to find those anymore. This one is nice because if we open it up, it's got a couple of USB ports on the front, keeping you from needing to go to the back. Now let's swing it around and take a look at the back of it. You'll see that we've got a couple of USB ports down here. We've also got an RJ45 jack here. That's used for the network. And a little bit when we look at the laptop, you'll see the difference between the RJ45 and the RJ11. Just keep that in mind. To the side of it, you've got the connectors for the mouse as well as for the keyboard. The keyboard is always going to be the connector closest to the outside of the case. In this case, it's the bottom connector and the mouse is on top. If these were side by side, whichever one was closest to the outside would be the keyboard connector. To the side of that, we've got the parallel port, and then we also have two serial ports. Over on this side, we have the DB15 monitor connector as well. You'll always have a 15-pin monitor connector. If we look now at the laptop, you'll see we've got a very similar situation, but the ports are a little bit different. Starting on the side, all we have is just simply a DVD player here. If we switch it around to the back, on the back we've got our USB ports, two USB ports, and here this is that RJ45 network connector. To the side of it is an RJ11. The RJ11 is connected to a modem. So this is a typical telephone line, and this is a network cable. You'll notice the difference in the size. The RJ11 only uses 4 pins, which is why it's so small, whereas the RJ45 uses 8 pins, which is why it's so much larger. We have an S-video connector there as well, and then here is our connection for an external monitor if we want to use such. Turning this to the side, you'll see that we have 2 more USB ports, showing how popular it's become that you need so many different connectors for that, as well as our microphone in and our headphones out jacks. To the bottom of that is a flash card port, so we can insert a flash card there. And then very, very small connector here. This is the FireWire port. This particular connector is a 4-pin connector. FireWire is either 4-pin or 6-pin. If it's a 6-pin connector, it's providing its own power. If it's a 4-pin connector, you need to have external power. So this particular model, if you connect something to it, must have its own power supply in order for it to work.